everybody.
I didn't get one.
Right.
We just got back from. I'm sorry. I only had one of these. We just got back from Midsommar, which is a horror film based upon Swedish rituals. These basically a girlfriend is, grieving. She's had some loss. She's got some problems with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is going on a trip to Sweden. Invites her along. One of his buddies invites them all out. And so they go out, and we get quite a bit of some
stuff happens.
It is crazy. And so, without spoilers, we'll have a spoiler section. What did you guys think of Midsommar?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah. Do you
know? One
know?
of those films.
These aren't my type of movies.
Okay, so Joe, these are what I would call high art horrors. They're very, very slow. They love to build it up. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to admit, there were parts of this that I was incredibly bored. Mm-hmm. There were parts that really tested my patience.
You still get it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I can see the comments already. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm building it up and qualifying it and letting you know my own preferences. But I love horror so much that I like a film like this that really does take its time in building its atmosphere and its world and its lore. And as far as sort of religious, cultist, whatever the hell this Swedish convent is, they really built that up.
Yes.
I mean, this is almost an advertisement for joining these guys, basically. I mean,
I'll pass.
It's unabashed. It's unrelenting. Mm-hmm. And so lots and lots of theme there. Some interesting visuals.
Very interesting visuals.
The director, what's his name?
Ari Aster.
Yeah.
Ari Aster. He directed Hereditary, which is a film that I liked. Had some problems here and there. I think y'all liked it a little less than I did. Mm-hmm. But, I just appreciate horror like this. However, this is a really difficult recommendation for me to make to anybody because this does not have a Hollywood ending. I don't know how audiences are really going to take this. It's very slow. I mean, we're talking like 1 hour and 20 minutes into the film. You're like, Come on. I mean, most of the stuff happens in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, same as the
all of his movies just kind of just meander a little bit, and it's enjoyable meandering. Mm-hmm. But you get to the point where there's a couple times I'm looking down on my watch and going, all right,
I pulled out my phone.
It's about time to get things going.
I really want to like these films more.
Me too. Like, I know it's supposed to build up. Yeah, I guess I just didn't care enough about the characters.
Yes.
Enough. I think
his
with this
friends. So his friends go along with him on the journey, Joe. And is that the characters you're talking about?
All of them. Basically.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Even the Swedish convent people, they seem more like characters than real people. It's very difficult to relate to the things that are happening on screen, and ultimately it feels more like a glorification, more self-indulgence of just sort of cold and cruel without much real point. Maybe I missed the point of the film, and I'll tell you what I thought the point of the film was in the spoiler section because I can't talk about it otherwise. But it really it makes you feel at the end like, what was the point in all that? There are many films that, have such an oppressive mood and work or such a sort of acid trippy kind of thing. Mandy, for one. Yep. We love Mandy.
Yeah.
And while these are two completely different films, it's unfair to compare them because one has action in it and one has sort of
Nicolas Cage.
But I found similarities here and there.
They're both acid trips.
Not only acid trips, cult leaders, cultish stuff.
Full frontal male nudity.
You had to bring that up.
Lot of dicks in this one. Some vajayjay. Okay, don't want to say much more, but this director has an affinity for a particular kind nakedness, and he definitely
I'm kind of curious who he hangs out with.
Gives you a
I've
helping.
seen Hereditary.
I
in
don't.
this
Yeah,
film.
I don't want to know what
Like,
he does.
whoa.
His search history's got to be weird.
Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. I am appreciative that the trailer reveals none of this.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and tired of recent trailers kind of giving away the film, showing best scenes, trying to get people butts in the seat. This film doesn't give a fuck whether you come to it or not. It doesn't give a fuck about pleasing you either, and some people find that refreshing. And so there's lots in the film that you don't ever see in the trailer. So I think the trailer sets it up pretty nicely. Oh, God, I want to say, I mean, this is a type of film that takes more reflection
Yeah.
than just literally we saw 5 minutes ago, and we're trying to sink our teeth into
Well,
this.
so this is a really pretty and well shot film. Like,
Okay.
this is one that if you're
I will
paying
agree with
attention,
that.
there's something to look at in every single scene. Even if the scenes are pointless and slow, there's beautiful things to look at. I mean, the set design was really good.
Yeah, that's
they
the one
did.
thing I enjoyed. The environment and the music
Yeah,
was great.
the atmosphere.
What an amazing thing that they made. The film is bright the whole time, in the daylight the whole
Yeah.
time. I'm sort of in my medieval garb here, what they would wear, and it's actually, is effective.
Yeah.
Without having to resort to, jump scares.
There were one or two.
No jump scares.
There was
were
absolutely was.
jump-
There was
Well, you
absolutely
have to
was
tell
a
me.
jump
You have to
scare.
tell me. I must have missed it. But this one you have to agree that it doesn't rely on
No, not at
jump
all.
scares.
But the
That's
reason
my
I
point.
the reason I remember it is because it was completely didn't fit the film at all, and it was there, and it almost felt cheap after seeing the whole thing. It's like, what
Right,
the
right.
hell was the point of that scene?
Right. Well, there are some questionable things. Like the humor didn't land for me.
A couple times. It did.
Sometimes it was really funny, and but it did it a lot, and maybe it's just because it's a 2 hour and 20-minute long movie. There were parts of the movie that I felt were supposed to be more serious. The entire theater was cracking up,
Yeah, that's
and I was
what-
sitting
that's
there
why I
going
said
like,
it did. Like, did you notice that? I felt like I was in La La Land. I
I
mean,
was
they
like,
were
wait,
ready
is that supposed
to
to be
have an
funny?
audience-pleasing film.
Yeah.
By the end of the film, everybody was dead silent, and
They're
I'm
still
not
trying
sure
to
if they
take it in,
enjoyed
like,
it.
Wait, how?
But they were treating it
know.
like it's your standard horror. I kind of really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And me and Alex were looking at each other like, why is everybody screaming in hilarity? There was even one guy that was laughing so hard at such a shitty joke. He was like, he did the Brendan Fraser
Fraser.
clap. Well, I don't,
Yeah.
what is going on? Well, I want to tell you, there's a joke about like Austin Powers in this
again,
film.
didn't fit at all. It was
What?
real weird.
Okay, I guess it was just to throw people off. There are televisions in this
Yeah,
convent? I
I-
didn't.
yeah.
They're out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, whatever. But okay, so what about the performances? And you guys think that our lead actress and the boyfriend and the girlfriend did all right?
She did great. I think that she was really, but like, I mean, a lot of the scenes, she had a lot of emotional scenes where she's crying or she's on the verge of crying, and
She did that well.
she did that really well. But
She
there was a
did.
lot. That's like the only times where I was really, feeling for her is when she's just sitting there. It's like, did she get the part? I know she's a great actress, but it's like, do something else.
And her
I've
boyfriend-
seen that trick before. Come on, show me something different.
Right, and her
I
boyfriend
didn't like
has
him.
a great
I don't like him.
wide-eyed look for
Oh.
everything that's happening. It's like
I didn't.
constantly.
Danny.
He looks like
Yeah, Danny Seth Rogen.
He looks
like
I-
a younger Seth Rogen.
He looks
yeah.
like a younger Seth Rogen mixed with a little bit of Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
time to
definitely,
time.
yeah.
I was like, the hell.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets that all the time, but I guess the fact is that their friends don't really say much. We meet some other people that show up to this convent at the same time, so there's more outsiders than just them. They don't say much. They don't really get much, and so it's hard to really invest yourself in
Yeah.
any of these characters. A
Besides
lot of the
Danny, that was the only
subplots
one.
that were going on with our lead female character, what was her name?
Danny.
Danny, right? And she... she has this stuff where her sister, you even see it in the trailer, like her sister, is going through some mental issues.
Happen.
Yeah.
And, her mother and father, and they have some trauma in their life. And I thought that was going to pay off somewhere. It doesn't really pay off at all. It's just
I thought
more.
it kind of did.
It
I mean,
affects,
there's
it affects her
Well,
throughout
yeah,
her
I'll-
experience.
I'll tell you what I thought about
Okay.
it later.
All right.
but-
Wait, no, it's spoilers, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
Can't really
let's
say
just
much.
go ahead and sort of wrap up our thoughts here so we can
Yeah.
jump into spoilers. We don't need to dawn on this one too much without speaking on spoilers. So if somebody wants to take it.
Like I said, I really like the environment. That was a beautiful, and I like the shots that he does. It's kind of like the same as Hereditary. Some of the frames that he does on that. The music was great. I didn't really care about the characters too much, and I know it's a slow one. It's building up tension, and their whole thing is like, oh, this is a horror movie done during the day, which there was some cool parts. I like some of the effects that they used, which is cool, but like I was not really invested. It was too long for me, and like I said before, these just aren't my type of movies. And
Do you
I don't
know
like the
why?
cheesy jump scare either, because like Chucky, I hated it. It's dumb, cheesy jump scares. This one, I don't know. I just like I said, I wasn't invested in the characters. I think that's probably one of my main things. Because honestly,
You
I
really
like
got to get invested.
Yeah, I liked Hereditary better.
Because of
than
the
this
characters,
one.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree the characters are better in Hereditary, but this one kind of maintains itself throughout and doesn't really, stray from the path too much. So as an idea and a film as a whole and a single idea, it goes through better, but I like the characters in Hereditary better. It's difficult.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
what
I'm
would you
probably
give
gonna give this a 6.
Okay.
So this one's hard to rate because there are
Yeah.
things that it does that's very average. The length, the pacing, and some people are going to sit there and they're going to love every second while they're building it up. But I have a problem with the pacing of this film because it likes to meander, it likes to take its time, and then like all of his movies in the last 10, 15 minutes, shit just spirals out of control. And I don't want to sit there in a film. If you're going to take your time, build into something big and give me you don't have to just go, we're going to go slow, and then off. And so I have a
it's a
problem
little
with that.
annoying.
And so it's that in that sense, it's a 5. But it was beautiful. There were some really cool camera shots they did with like, if you get motion sick, you can't watch this movie. Like if you are a kind of person that gets car sick,
I like
like
that.
there's a lot of spinning camera stuff and cool trippy things, and like I think it'd be very hard to watch. So I think I'm gonna give this maybe a 7. I'm averaging like the 9 and the 5 between the two things because there were some things that it did really, really well, but it was slow. I wouldn't recommend this to very many people. I know some people I'm going
See
to.
Hereditary first. See if you like that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, but
I wanted to say I liked it better than Hereditary, but then Hereditary is stronger in other areas, like you mentioned, Joe, the characters. This one's weaker in this. This one is ultimately not a very satisfying story, in my opinion, and it just feels it's done for the sake of showing what they showed.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually give this one a 7 out of 10, which I believe is the same rating I gave Hereditary, but it's for different reasons. I think this guy is really talented, and I'm just waiting for him to reach the next level. Because his horrors are much better than traditional horrors that rely overly on jump scares and rely overly on formulaic things. He's got his own formula, like you pointed out. Such a slow build, goes crazy right at the end. I wish he would pepper in more interesting and shocking moments and out of control and tension and then like
Yeah, the last 5
an
minutes.
escape
let's
kind of thing where you
expand on
really
the last 5 minutes. and
right.
cut down on the
You
other.
you dwell on the film. You don't have time to take it in when he explodes everything at the end. I think that it would really put you in more of a mood if there were more high points throughout, rather than putting me to sleep almost, to then realize I'm invested for the big payoff, and then to feel a little deflated. That it's like, why didn't we get there sooner and do some of these interesting things? So 7 out of 10. Let's go into. I am really looking forward to see what he does next. I like this, and as a horror fan, you have some choices. You got what? Annabelle Comes Home and Child's Play. What do you guys think this one relates to those? You think it's
Child's
better?
Play is the
I think
last
it's
one.
I think yes.
Last
I think it's better than both. I think Annabelle creation for an R-rated film plays it way too safe, and all the monsters and demons weren't really that effective to me.
This one.
And that was like the Hollywood
If I had to choose from those
version.
three.
And this is more like the indie film, artsy film version, and I lean more towards this one. So I think this one is superior of the horror. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't recommend recommend this to very many because this is going to be a divisive movie.
Know that you're going in for the long haul.
I think the critics and people who think that themselves as critics are really going to love this film. They're going to give it a 10 out of 10, and anyone who doesn't like it or doesn't like a scene, you're just going to say, well, you don't get it.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sure that's in the comments already. It's just like, well, you just, I watch underground black and white Chechnyan films, and because I've seen those films, I get it, and you don't.
I understand that it does something a little different, and I appreciate that, but
Yeah,
I don't think
like
this kind of different pace could have been done better. In my opinion, the character should have been more invested.
But that's just his style.
So, let's go into the spoiler section. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next Angry Joe Show.
Bye,
Skull.
guys.
Welcome to the spoiler section. So, basically, I guess here's my interpretation of it. Her sister kills herself for a reason we don't really know.
She's bipolar.
Yeah.
She's bipolar. Okay, well, so then she just went off the deep end. She took her mother and father with her, basically used some hoses and killed her mother and father with the cars in the garage. That's pretty creative, bringing the hoses all the way up while they're sleeping, taping them to under the door. So she goes through, trauma, and then she realizes that her boyfriend's kind of not really a good boyfriend. And we switch to his perspective, and all his buddies, they're telling him on the other side of the phone, break up with this girl. You've been wanting to break up with her, and you're just lingering, not doing it. You can have sex with other girls and things like that because she doesn't like to have sex or whatever because she's going through some stuff.
Yeah.
And they're just being kind of, encouraging him to break it off. But they're going to Sweden. One of his male buddies, invites him out to Sweden. This guy is fucking evil as hell. He is a cult member.
You don't know that.
And he survives at the end of the film.
But
He
yeah.
invites all of his buddies to come and fucking die, essentially. Because I don't know if they ever intended to. I guess they did intend to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Because they, it's a part of their ritual.
No,
And
I mean, some number of outsiders had to die, but not.
I think all outsiders were dead by the end of the
not
film.
They were, but it was only a chance. Like,
No. I think they would kill you at the end because they're so worried about, pictures being taken and information being disseminated on where they're at and stuff like that. So if they want outsiders for new babies and new seeds and trying not to inbreed too much, they'll just have you fuck them and then kill you at the end. Because that's what happens here. I'm jumping a little too far ahead, but, so they go out there. And basically, it's always daylight. They just start right away with the drugs, and that doesn't help things. And it's really creative, it's like little water pastel paint looking thing that sort of fluctuates as you're looking at stuff. And they go on this basically a bunch of pagan rituals.
Yeah, and back to Danny, what you were thinking about. Her family dies because her sister killed them, and I interpreted it as she has a new family now because the guy's like, hey, I've been to the same thing. Like, your family. This is your new family now.
He threw me off. That was the point that I was making. I thought that was a way to get over
that's how he
her
was connected,
boyfriend.
because at the end he's like, oh, you're my queen.
Yeah, they do shared pleasure, they do shared pain, they do shared trauma, they do shared everything. When she cries, they cry. When someone has sex, everyone is pleasuring themselves, and all women are gyrating and rubbing themselves, and it's super
rubbing their titties. I don't know what it is with this director, Ari Aster. He loves old naked ladies, big fat old naked ladies. With big booyahs, like you say, Joe, it was at the end of Hereditary. It's in full glory at the end here for 20 minutes, 15 minutes in your face. They start gyrating. They start singing to you. It's because one of the little girls picked her boyfriend to mate with, and
she fed him her pube, gave him a rune, and then
pie.
made him drink period blood, and then that's how you. I don't know.
But it was supposed to put a love spell on him.
Yes.
I didn't really see the love spell at some time. He did kind of seem like he was talking. At one point, he's like, what's, the couple's situation here? Are there lots of inbreeding? and you kind of think that maybe he's kind of asking about her, this woman in front of his girlfriend. Her girlfriend gets a little pissed off.
Well,
But I didn't really feel like he was under a love spell.
No, he was just trying to write his thesis.
And he got drugged a lot.
Yeah.
And so, they made him sniff stuff, and they made him drink stuff, and then drink different stuff, and then he
went for a hell
drank
of a
her
ride.
period blood, and then
So right when this movie's going off the rails, they have all these crazy, weird traditions that seem weird to you, and then it's mentioned at one point that his buddy who had left. In between the ages of 18 to 36, they go off into the world, but then they come back to live their life out to 72. And there's different seasons for how old you are, but at 72, it's a cutoff.
Yep.
And he's like, well, what happens what if you live past 72? He's like
and
that.
you think he's joking.
But you think he's just joking.
Yeah, it's like,
but no, they wheel out these two old people who are the oldest people in the village, I guess the elders, and nobody eats or drinks until they start. Then they get picked up in their ceremony chairs. We go out to a fucking quarry or ravine, and then they jump off the fucking top and slam into the rocks in a very gory fashion.
Well, this is the next thing that Ari Aster loves doing. He loves mutilating heads, and
Yes.
that's his thing. And
The
so,
old guy had the worst.
Oh, I know.
Because the girl jumps off straight into the rock.
But her head explodes.
And her head's
Yeah,
explodes
she's
and-
dead. The old guy jumps off, breaks his legs. He's still
Barely a
alive.
sound.
well, you
He's
knew it was
still
going to happen
alive.
because there's a dude in there with a giant
Yeah,
hammer.
I
but
get that, but
to
then
finish
there's like
him
a
off.
whole line of everybody.
Taking
Everybody's
turns smashing
taking a
his
He's
head.
turn.
already fucking
I was like,
dead,
he's
but they
dead.
keep
Leave him
smashing his
alone.
face
I was
in.
like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
So from a gore standpoint, this film actually does kind of satisfy.
That's the part I was like, all
The
right.
effects are well done
Yes.
for that.
Yeah.
Later on, in terms of gore, keeping on that subject, we see somebody flayed.
He had his lungs removed from his back.
A
and
blood
they-
angel. What do they call that? Blood something. It's called something. The Vikings used to do it, where he's like still breathing. The lungs are still breathing, but he should be dead. I guess you live for a while. You can live for a while.
Yeah.
And so they see these two old people commit suicide, there's two outsiders besides them, a couple. And they freak out. They're like, we're getting the fuck out of here. And the elder's just trying to explain, no, we choose when we end our life, and this is the way it is here. And everybody just accepts it. I'd have been like, no, I'm out. I'm walking that way. I
And then
would have
they
known
killed
which
you.
way that I walked over here, unless they're purposefully trying to walk them this
No,
way.
yeah,
and
they're
that way.
drugging you, so you're like, oh, I don't know where I'm
I
at.
guess, but they should have fucking left at that point. Instead, they stay, and slowly, one by one, the friends start getting picked off. The first one to go, I think, is the very curious guy who was doing his dissertation,
No, the first guy to go is the comic relief. The guy who I felt was kind of wasted because he was the.
that wasn't the first guy to go.
Yeah, because
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like,
you're right.
she's going to
They
show me
yeah,
something.
they ripped his skin off.
Yeah.
You remember the guy was wearing like an Edgar suit of him? It was real gross.
Yeah, it sucked because that he got killed off screen though. This
Yeah.
lady's they're at dinner and she's like, "Please come with me," and
Show me
I
something.
show you, and he's like, "She's gonna show me."
Yeah.
Never
And he-
seen from again.
Never seen from again. We don't really know who's wearing his face, but he's naked. His dick is hanging out, and then the guy who's most fascinated with the culture, who's writing stuff down his laptop,
Josh.
and later on, he even speaks with the elder and looks through the books. He's really curious. He wants to take pictures of everything. He wakes up, takes pictures, but they knock his fucking ass out. And they murder him right there. So it's like, wait a minute, was this planned? Were you always going to kill Josh? Because they used the skin of, why would he be wearing the skin of his other friend at that particular moment? And then the sort of misshapen, inbred sort of
Oracle baby.
who really serves no purpose in the film and is just kind of used as a
They use him
a prop.
because he draws on the book and the elders interpret it. And
Stupid.
That went
It's
nowhere.
crazy.
Was he
It's
having
crazy
sex
religion.
with his
That's
dead
basically-
body or something? Because while they knock him out, a lot of blood on the floor. It looks like his body is moving, and you hear sort of like a huffing, puffing kind of sound. I thought that something
I didn't
nefarious
get
was
that
going on there, and then they drag him off screen. So those two friends are dead. The
British couple are dead.
British couple, the guy left. They said, "Oh, He left without you. We took him home. He wanted to go home, but there was only 2 seats in the truck. It was, one of our members and him, and he left his girl behind. She was really upset about that, but it turns out they just fucking flayed him. And then they killed the girl later on. You don't see the girl die, but you hear her screaming in the forest, and nobody really cares.
Yeah.
And nobody does anything about it. Even our characters are like,
They all hear
Well,
it.
people are making weird
Whatever.
noises in here anyway. Yeah.
a lot of.
That's another thing. He likes these noises.
weird
Didn't-
Oh, yeah.
That didn't
He likes
really
to
do
do-
anything.
And
So
now
there's
it's
the Hereditary was, and this was whatever.
We'll see what's next.
Served no
Yeah,
purpose.
there's gonna be something else.
I'm looking forward to his third thing. So anyway, they do this dance, ritualistic dance where the last person remaining that's not tired.
There's a
By the way,
queen.
they take some psychedelic fucking,
When
drink
don't they?
drugs.
Yeah, everyone's
Exactly.
on drugs the entire time.
And turns out our main character, Danny, wins, and she gets crowned queen. And they give her essentially the power to choose who among them is the 9 people that need to be sacrificed.
Well, they're laid out. She just has to be like, "Are you okay with this?" And she says, "Yes."
Yeah.
Sacrificed in the temple. And because previously, while she was blessing, sort of, it's tradition for her to bless the harvest, she comes back from the harvest, here's some huffing and puffing, like there's some sex going on.
Because there's 9 old ladies in there just gyrating, and they're moaning along with the woman because
Yeah.
they're trying to emphasize this is a community and we experience everything together, even sex.
Which
And it was
is bullshit, but
weird.
okay, very weird. So she sees her boyfriend having sex with the young girl and all these gyrating ladies. She freaks out,
throws up.
and that's
Stick
very
in her
relevant.
stomach.
Yeah.
Makes your sick.
She looks through the keyhole and all she probably saw was like gyrating old ladies, and she's like, "Nope, I'm out, throwing up."
Very bad. Then they make her choose essentially. She probably has an opportunity to say, not him, not my boyfriend. But because he was kind of bad to her.
Don't ever piss off a woman.
No, right? But he's not a good boyfriend. But I didn't think
But-
he had crossed the line to the point where like
He was
cheated on her.
drugged. He was drugged as fuck.
she
He
didn't
was
know that.
drug as fuck, and maybe it was a love spell. That shit wasn't clear enough to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't clear enough his motivation. Did he actually just want to go fuck that chick? Or was it a
Probably
real
a
love
little
spell
bit.
with all this fucking
Well, I mean, I kind of
ritualistic bullshit? I don't know.
I interpreted that scene as her choosing him to die is because now she's the only outsider that lives, and I think that she's
Yeah.
it's implied that she's gonna live there now. That she's realized that
Because
they
she
do.
smiles at the end.
They do everything together. All of the other women.
It's her new family.
It's a new family. They were grieving together. They were crying together. They were sharing everything. And so she's like, "Well, you get to go die."
Right. And the boy that originally brought them, the guy's friend, kind of makes moves on his girlfriend.
Oh, it definitely kisses her. Yeah.
Kisses her, basically says, "Do you really feel at home with your current boyfriend?" And you can tell that no, and so he offers her that. So yeah, she's gonna stay behind.
She lives
be a part
happily
of
ever
this.
after.
They burn him, but before burning him, it's not a traditional burning. It's like, what do we do? What do we do here? Let's make this unique.
We have a bear. Let's put him.
There's just a bear in a cage at the beginning of the film, and it's like, are we not going to talk about the bear in the cage? And they're like, no. And then later on at
We'll
the end
get
of the
to it
film,
later.
the bear is just laying on a fucking flayed, laying on a table, and they stuff the boyfriend in the bear suit, or make a bear suit out of it, and stick him in the middle of the steeple, this yellow sort of triangle ritual fucking church, and then put all the other 9 bodies. I think there was 4 of the people from the convent.
Yeah, the 2 elders that had died earlier.
2 elders that died earlier that were stuffed with like fucking fruits and shit and fucking trees coming out of their mouth and crazy shit. 2 that willingly sacrificed themselves, that volunteer. They got some little tree sap that fucking, made them
But it
Which
didn't appear to work. It
didn't
didn't work.
Yes, it
unable to
didn't
move
work.
and not feel anything, but they
So
felt
there,
it.
you won't feel pain. He starts yelling. It's like, well, that didn't work.
Okay, then we just solved the mystery. He did cheat on his girlfriend. He was fucking around because there's no like there's psychedelic stuff. I think has been
Oh,
proven.
he was paranoid. He's
I think
like,
it's been
help.
proven time after time that there's no mysticism there. It's just their
druggies.
And psychedelic drugs. So there's no actual love spell. So he did cheat on his girl because these guys say there's no you will feel no pain. Ah! They felt pain, right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Too late
Joe?
by that time.
So everything in the
It was
film
different.
was bullshit.
Well, and then it kind of explains the backstory of the guy that brought them there, because he had said, "Oh, my parents died too. They died in a fire." And it's like, "Oh, okay, so your parents were one of the people that were sacrificed in this
Correct.
thing." And
so then you got those four, the boyfriend, that's 5, the couple that showed up, that's 7,
And some volunteers.
the comedy relief guy and the dissertation
Josh
dude.
guy.
So that's 9.
yeah.
And yep, she
I
stays
think
behind.
To
Smiles.
me, it would have been more of a surprise if he doesn't, because he has this habit of doing it. Like you see it in the background. It's like, all right, what was it? There's a little cloth hanging out where you see this girl's in love with this guy, and she cuts her pubes and puts it in the guy's food, and then it's
she,
like, all right, well,
she
that's
makes
gonna
him a
happen
drink
later.
with period blood in it, and then
Yeah.
it tells you the full story.
He tells you the full story. You know it's gonna happen. I think if he just takes that out and you see it like that happen, that would have been better.
Naturally, you're onto something, Joe. I think that this film has a problem. The reason I liked the film and I wanted to like it more. 7 out of 10 is a pretty high score, but I think it's capable of more. But they telegraph everything.
Yeah.
They telegraph the bear. They telegraph
because he's like sitting there looking at the wall, and you see the bear on fire. I was like, all right, he's gonna
the
be,
wall.
Yeah,
The writing is on the wall
Yeah.
the whole fucking time. If they would just look at the images on the wall, you've got a burning bear, and there's a bear over there. You've got fucking people stabbing and blood things,
Yeah.
and you're like, later on, there's some fucking blood shit going on, and
Come on, give me some mystery.
Yeah, exactly. And then even the music kind of tells you when to be scared or when something is about to happen and stuff. But despite that, it still builds up good atmosphere. It's just really, really slow, and it really tests your patience.
The jump scare we were talking about earlier is when they first get there, she's on mushrooms, and she's like panicking, running away. She runs into the bathroom, and she lights a match, and then behind her is her dead sister with like the hose in her mouth, duct taped to her face, and it was there for like half a second and then gone. And it was the only time that they tried to like jump. There was a kind of a jump scare because the light turns on. There's a flash of a dead person, and then it goes away. And it felt really out of
that
place.
as a jump scare. That to me was just her past haunting her and just her trauma haunting her. It's still with her right there, kind of reminding her of that. But yeah,
But she lights a match and then immediately like that's what they're doing now. It's just where you turn the corner and the mirror looks and
always a mirror.
there's a ghost in the mirror. It's like, okay.
So I never have any mirrors in my house.
Yeah. All right, so that's about it. I don't know. If you're Swedish, I've been to Sweden multiple times, and I fucking loved it there.
Don't ever fucking
And
those
well,
things.
I've only been to really good parts. Obviously, I haven't been to the shitty parts or the crazy ass cult parts. So if you're Swedish, down in the comments, let me know. Are there some crazy ass motherfuckers out in the forest?
This religion's crazy, man.
And
Turns
your
people
pagan
evil.
rituals. No, as far as we know, I think a lot of the pagan rituals were lost or whatever. So I don't know if some of the specific things in here are actually based off of Swedish folklore, or if they kind of just made that part up and say, yes, well, we celebrate the Midsommar, but we don't do these specific fucking crazy things that these people do. Not even our hicks out in the forest do that. So I don't know. Let me know, because I don't think I want to go to Sweden no more. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That's gonna be it. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe show.
Bye, guys. And be sure to subscribe and ding our dong and check out our link down below for some merchandise.
Get this badass merch right
I don't
here.
think we have that
Hit that
yet.
link
buy that
below.
one.
No.
Hit that link below. Bye, guys.
But I think we addressed that
Yeah.
they were very good
One thing I
characters.
don't really understand is like why they buried Josh, his foot. They buried him and then they just
For
take
no
him
fucking
back. Yeah, they
purpose.
just put him
Well,
back
that's
out.
why I'm thinking, Joe, that this film sometime. How am I going to stick this in?
Weird. I mean, we talked about all the other than the foot thing.
Yeah,
But.
it's just weird.
I think sometimes this film just kind of rebels in itself. It's like basically, just there because that's a scary thing and it's a thing. It doesn't really make sense within the lore that he set up for the people. It's more for the audience. You know what I mean? And I think it doesn't do that too much, but it does it every once in a while.
Did a couple times with that foot and
The flayed guy in the
whenever
barn was like unnecessary. Had nothing to do with the plot. Didn't need to be there. I don't think that
it was
they
more
would...
like, hey, remember the Swedish are technically Vikings, so they do the blood angel thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, them motherfucking old dudes are not gonna be able to flame me. That guy was taller than everybody there, but you punch him. I guess if you don't see it coming, you get knocked out. Oh no, they had the disabling mist, and
paralyzes you.
Fucking paralyzes your whole body. Okay, you're fucked. But can you
would...
imagine him going and then getting him? Nah, man, it's just way too fast.
So when you turn around, never breathe when you turn around.
Don't breathe
when you turn around. You don't know what's behind you.
Yeah, shit. Old ladies. Their vajayjays and their fucking titties hanging out, and then they start fucking grabbing themselves and gyrating.
And doing that group moaning thing was...
Doing group moaning.
Then he grabs his hand.
And singing. This really old lady, I guess the mother of the lady's fucking starts singing in his ear, and he does his face.
Well, the part we didn't talk about was the old lady that was pushing on his butt to help him.
His buttocks, really, really fucker. Well, it was like they wanted him to finish so that they can actually get the baby. And this ain't about you having pleasures. It's about give us the baby juice, get the fuck out. And then he just runs away once he realized what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
I guess the drugs wear off or something. So did he want to do it or didn't he want to do it? Fuck, I don't know.
He had that post-nut clarity.
Exactly. That's what you need to do.
But he hit that post-nut clarity, and he's just like, what'd I do?
You never heard that?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's been so long since I've heard that. He starts fucking running.
Yeah, he starts running away.
And then he realizes he's naked.
Well, he sees a body that's half buried. He's like, I didn't see that before. What was I thinking? And then he sees a flayed guy, and then
one thing in his mind.
Shit. All right. Well, that's it for the extra section.
Yeah.
Maybe I should make this section an official thing, the extra section, where it just ends.
And
I even put on my end cap. I even put my end cap, but then there's black, and then it just starts again.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? I'm going to do it. We'll see how it works. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you very much. See you on the next one.
For real this time.
For real.